Hello, I'm Allison Struve. Welcome to the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District. We are a wastewater treatment organization with two facilities located in Green Bay and De Pere. Our mission is to promote public health and welfare through the collection, treatment, and reclamation of wastewater throughout our watershed. This video was produced in part by a grant from the Wisconsin Coastal Management Program and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. The Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District, or GBMSD, operates regionally with wastewater treatment as its core strength, but it also provides valuable data and education to many others interested in improving water quality. Like all living things, we require clean water to exist. Nature has a way of cleaning and maintaining water in its many forms. It's called the Earth's water cycle. Here's how it works. Water vapor in the clouds come down from the sky as rain or snow. It then runs off the land into rivers and streams, collects in lakes or oceans, or travels down through the soil, collecting in aquifers under the ground. Eventually, this water evaporates into the atmosphere and becomes clouds once again. The water cycle takes place over and over. Water, in its natural state, is kept clean by nature. Forests and wetlands act as sponges by absorbing and filtering runoff water. Rocks, sand, and soil also filter and clean the groundwater as it seeps into the Earth's aquifers. Both runoff and groundwater contain organic substances that can pollute water. Naturally occurring microorganisms consume these organic substances and clean the water. And this is exactly what the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District does. Using microorganisms in its processes, GBMSD cleans wastewater by acting like nature. GBMSD treats wastewater 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Only GBMSD does it much faster and more efficiently than nature. But there wasn't always a Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District, and our wastewater wasn't always clean. In the early days, people used rivers and streams to carry away their dirty water, waste, and garbage. As local populations grew, the waterways became polluted and posed a serious health problem. So in the 1930s, citizens raised money to build the Green Bay area's first wastewater treatment plant. The condition of the rivers then were so awful that even in the midst of the Depression, people were concerned enough to raise the nearly $2 million needed to construct the facility. The new plant was busy right from the start, treating 2.5 million gallons of water per day. Today, the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District is a municipal corporation directed by a 5-member commission. Commissioners are appointed by the Brown County Executive and approved by the County Board. Each commissioner serves a 5-year term. GBMSD serves residents over a 285 square mile area. This includes the cities of Green Bay and De Pere, the villages of Alloway, Ashwaubenon, Bellevue, Hobart, Howard, Luxembourg, Pulaski, and Suamico, and the towns of Green Bay, Humboldt, Lawrence, Ledgeview, Pittsfield, Red River, and Scott. GBMSD also serves Procter & Gamble Paper Company as a contract customer. In order to handle the wastewater from all of the homes and businesses, a series of large underground pipes called interceptors or sewers transport the water. There are 2 types of sewers, storm sewers and sanitary sewers. The wastewater from your house goes into a sanitary sewer and onto the treatment plant. The water that goes into the storm sewers when it rains or snow melts does not go to the wastewater treatment plant. Instead, that water drains directly into nearby rivers, streams, and into the Bay of Green Bay. Sediments, debris, and pollutants that get into storm sewers can harm our waterways, so it's important to never pour anything into a storm sewer that could harm fish and wildlife or that you wouldn't want to swim in. Some of the wastewater from our significant industrial users needs to meet specific criteria before it enters the sanitary system to prevent the introduction of pollutants that may interfere with the GBMSD's treatment processes. Sampling is conducted by our technicians to ensure compliance. Samples from within the plant are also analyzed at various stages of the treatment process, supplying data to ensure compliance with local, state, and federal standards and our DNR discharge permit requirements. All of the processes at the De Pere facility and most at the Green Bay facility are computer controlled from a central control room at the Green Bay facility. A series of closed-circuit TV cameras provide process surveillance to the Green Bay and De Pere facilities 24 hours a day, while computers alert the operators to anything irregular. At the Green Bay facility, an extensive system of underground tunnels connects all the buildings and houses much of the equipment that helps run the plant. Although you can never tell from the outside, this pump station is actually Green Bay's tallest building. While there are 5 stories above ground, below the ground are 10 stories. That's because the wastewater flows downhill and reaches the Green Bay facility primarily by gravity. Both Green Bay and De Pere facilities have pump stations. Once in the pump station, the wastewater is first screened for debris larger than 2 inches through a series of bar screens. Then it's pumped above ground to begin the cleaning process. There is one additional way we receive wastewater, and that's through waste haulers that truck in wastewater from private septic and holding tanks. This wastewater joins the water collected at the pump station. The step screens are the wastewater's first stop in the treatment process. Incoming wastewater, also called effluent, is about 99.9% water. Next, the wastewater moves into settling basins called primary clarifiers. As the flow of wastewater slows, solids that have been suspended in the water settle out and fall to the bottom of the tank. The 4 primary clarifiers at the Green Bay facility hold more than 1 million gallons of wastewater each. While the solids collect at the bottom, substances in the water that float, such as soap, scum, and grease, rise to the top. Nearly 60% of the solids settle out and are removed by these primary clarifiers. The solid particles form a substance at the bottom of the tanks called primary sludge. The floating surface material is collected by a skimmer and is removed for additional processing. You would think that since the primary clarifiers have extracted the majority of solids from the wastewater, that GBMSD just adds chemicals to finish the cleaning of the water. It's actually done naturally. As we learned earlier, nature uses microorganisms to consume the organic compounds found in wastewater, and that same process is used here. The only difference is that the Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District takes this one step further and creates the ideal environment for the right microorganisms to flourish by adding oxygen to the wastewater. The microorganisms become active, multiply, and devour the organic matter from the wastewater in less than 5 hours. Here at the final clarifiers, the organic matter has been consumed. But now we have an excess of microorganisms, and they need to be removed. So the flow of water is once again slowed, and the solids, primarily the clumps of microorganisms, settle to the bottom and are removed. 20% are wasted off, some go back to the aeration basins to consume more organic matter, and the rest go to solids treatment. These solids are referred to as waste-activated sludge. The water is then sent to the final cleaning step. The solids, both primary and activated sludge, have a separate treatment track. The primary sludge that settled to the bottom of the primary clarifiers is first degridded to remove sand that could interfere with the facility's pumps before being pumped to the gravity thickeners. The material that was skimmed off the top of the primary clarifiers is also pumped to the gravity thickeners. At this point, De Pere facility activated sludge is pumped to the Green Bay facility for processing to join the Green Bay facility's waste-activated sludge. A polymer is added to the sludge to help separate the solids from the water. This beaker demonstrates how the polymer clumps the solids together. At the gravity belt thickeners, the solid clumps are too large to pass through the belt's mesh material and are trapped on top. Water flows through the mesh by gravity. The result is a thickened waste-activated sludge. This sludge is pumped to a pair of large holding tanks where it's combined with primary sludge. The sludge from the holding tanks is further dewatered by the belt filter presses. The belt filter presses function much like the gravity belt thickeners, again using a polymer to help separate the water and the solids. At the end of the machine, 2 belts come together and squeeze out the remaining water. The result is a dewatered sludge that resembles soil. The last step in the solids process is to burn the dewatered sludge. A conveyor belt carries it to one of 2 7-hearth incinerators. The first 2 hearths dry the sludge, and the 3rd hearth burns the sludge. The last 4 hearths are used to cool the ash. The incinerators are operated at 950 to 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. The ash that exits the incinerators is trucked to a landfill. Incinerating the sludge reduces the disposal volume by 95%. Emissions from the incinerators are purified using a scrubber system that ensures DNR permit compliance. In the meantime, the treated wastewater is almost ready to re-enter the environment. The final step is to disinfect the wastewater and destroy any remaining bacteria. At the Green Bay facility, sodium hypochlorite, which is much like household bleach, is added to disinfect the water. Then, sodium bisulfite is added to neutralize and remove any residual chlorine. The treated water returns to the environment through a pipe at the mouth of the Fox River. At De Pere, liquids are processed similar to the Green Bay facility. However, it goes one step further in the treatment process and uses a different disinfecting method. De Pere's additional treatment process is tertiary treatment. That means the wastewater from the final clarifiers goes through a sand gravity filter process. The sand filters capture remaining suspended solids. Tertiary treatment, also called effluent polishing, significantly improves water quality. Before De Pere's treated water enters the environment, an ultraviolet light disinfection system is used to kill any remaining bacteria. The water passes through a flow chamber, and ultraviolet rays are directed into the water stream. When ultraviolet energy is absorbed by the bacteria and viruses, their genetic material is altered so they can no longer reproduce. At this point, bacteria and viruses are considered dead, and the risk of disease has been reduced. At both the Green Bay and De Pere facilities, GBMSD will spend about 21 hours to clean and return water in these beakers, along with another 38 million additional gallons of effluent to the river and bay so that it can rejoin the Earth's water cycle. In addition to treating wastewater, GBMSD takes an active role in understanding our changing watershed conditions. GBMSD's Water Quality Monitoring Program collects information about our regional waters to better understand water usage and its impacts on the Fox River and Bay. GBMSD continually works with government agencies, universities, and a variety of other community stakeholders concerned with environmental and water quality issues. Paper mills located along the Fox River are working to clean up sediment contaminated with polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs. PCBs were used to make carbonless coated paper starting in the 1950s. The use of PCBs ended in the 1970s when it was shown to have cancer-causing effects and immune, reproductive, and nervous system disruptions on aquatic species. Even the smallest changes at home can make a difference in your water quality. You can do your part by conserving available water and using it wisely. Here are a few tips to help keep our water clean and free of pollutants. Don't let excess water run while washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or washing your hands. Remember that all the water that runs down the drain has to be treated. Wash your car on the lawn so that soap suds are absorbed by the grass and soil. This keeps soap from draining into storm sewers and straight into nearby streams, rivers, and the bay. Take a personal interest in what happens to our water by adopting a storm drain near your house and keeping it clean and clear of debris. Even natural things like leaves, grass clippings, and soil can cause water to become polluted. Never dump chemicals or pet waste into a storm drain. It will go straight into our waterways and harm the environment. Before you pour the contents of any household product down the drain, read the label. Words like caution, warning, and danger are descriptions that indicate harmful chemicals are present and should not be poured down the drain. Prescription drugs and over-the-counter medication can be harmful to the environment and should not be poured down a drain or flushed down a toilet. GBMSD's processes can remove some medication from wastewater, but can't eliminate them all. So be safe and take unused or expired medication to a drug collection box, such as the one located at the Green Bay Police Department. Hazardous chemicals, paints, insecticides, and products containing mercury like electronic devices and CFL light bulbs should be taken to Brown County's Household Hazardous Waste Facility. They have the means to dispose of hazardous substances properly. Invasive species such as Phragmites, purple loosestrife, and zebra mussels can have a devastating effect on our native species. One tip to help stop the spread of invasive species is to wash your boat once it's out of the water. Zebra mussels can attach themselves to the underside of the boat. If not washed properly, zebra mussels can be spread to the other lakes and rivers you visit. The mission of GBMSD is to promote public health and welfare through the collection, treatment, and reclamation of wastewater while assessing stable competitive rates. In conjunction with others, the organization encourages pollution prevention and supports programs to help ensure that water contaminated by human activity is returned clean to the environment. From initiatives such as removing PCBs from the Fox River, to eliminating phosphorus from runoff, to containing the spread of invasive species, to being careful with what we put down the drain or into our storm sewers, we're all part of the solution. The Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District collects, treats, and cleans wastewater so that we'll continue to have a vital resource for generations to come.